What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you're having a fantastic day. So I know that I promised some of you, and if this is your first time watching this video, we had a live training call yesterday that I promised everyone that I was going to make this video for you, and I'm going to deliver. So my first thing that I really want to dive in and get a little bit deeper here on is the fact that there has been a wide misbelief of what sales truly is now. Um, the conversation of what you're having with a person is one which is based off of normal social dynamics, social cues, social influence, and your ability to process information rapidly in a context given of honest, good use of social skills. So I really want to dive in a little bit deeper on what exactly that entails and why this belief is becoming more widespread as we're having this and as you're watching this call here. So I have prepared a document for you that I want to share here. So I want to pull this up here. I have titled this, as you can see, I have not really bolded this out, but I'm going to write this and finish it as I'm having this call and you're watching this live with me. So that way, the transcript of what you're receiving from me is one of an understanding on a deep level, and then also your ability to be able to process this functionally while staying motivated and driven for the success you want here. Now, my first question that I always ask everybody is what do they believe is the gap in their process of when they're communicating with people, of where their communication fails? And if you have any sort of awareness to how socially we have adapted as human beings, you'll understand one of the most crucial, if not most important, elements to human beings is the tribe. And so the way that status, I want you to think about it from now on, is it is your ability to socially choreograph your influence and package it in a way where people can receive it and be able to process it simultaneously, unconsciously, without their awareness of it happening in a conversation of something that they will telegraph internally that they need. And the way that we think about status in this context here now is that I want you to look at it through your ability to have a frame seamlessly in a call and a conversation without your need to search for approval. If you want to know what exactly that entails, most will think that what a status play would be. If you've been on some of these calls, obviously I might have spoken with you personally um, and enrolled you into this program. And if you go back to remembering or listening to me, speaking and talking with you and having a conversation of why it is that you needed more coaching, um, mostly you'll find that I never, almost never will bring up the fact that, I've been featured in magazines. I've built, eight-figure companies. Um, I helped a company, one of my first coaching companies ever that I helped scale was when I was 19, and I helped it scale to seven figures. Um, and then that same year before that happened, I made my first, 13,000 or $275 in a week, and then on to $13,750 in a month in remote closing. So all of this became possible because I understood the dynamics of socially of how a context is built and how things work subtly in a way which gives you and grants you permission to have more access to influencing a human being that's deep in their psyche without them understanding why it's happening. So the way that I want you to look at status here is that you're new that the status and the definition of what exactly it means is the ability for a person to socially choreograph the elements of social awareness without the need to demonstrate regular status cues, such as trying to intimidate, become smaller, or flexing materialistic goods. So the first one that I'll cover here is intimidating, meaning that you don't try to make someone feel less or smaller than what is happening in a conversation. So you don't actually force onto someone that you're better. You don't try to seem or appear like in a call that you're posturing, um, and that you're coming from a place of this self-entitled superiority, which most of you will know doesn't exist, and 9 out of 10 times will be rooted out vigorously, and you will be tested unanimously unlimited times, because 9 out of 10 people will know that it's fake. And so it's a very dragging life. And some of you might know, depending on how old school you are, there's been some sales trainers in the past that have tried to pass this off as good knowledge. And a lot of those closers were burnt out, um, and just faded away. So I want to give you the skills of how to bypass that and how to really unlock persuasion in a human being on a deeper level. And that comes from an understanding of knowing that your second part of what you really don't want to happen is that you want to always stay in a position of a neutral, composed, calm, collected understanding of the conversation. You never want to appear too demeaning in a way where you feel like as the prospect is talking, you need to appear smaller or have the need to be liked. That need you have is a social cue that will telegraph to the prospect that you don't believe highly in yourself, and is really a detriment to the sales and the influence that you want to make. And so I want you to begin looking at persuasion as something that you're doing as as who you are being in the conversation, to allow that person to realize that the ideas of what it is that you are sharing are one that's aligned with stability, composure, certainty, and obviously the deeper understanding of sales on a much deeper psychological level. So our aim and our number one priority here, for you to write this down, is to remain non-attached, non-reactive, and in a state of calm, enjoyment, and composure. Your understanding and ability to lead another comes from your understanding and ability to lead yourself. And so my number one thing here, before we get even deeper here, is understanding that your self-awareness will drive the fact of your ability to see the depths of the information that you're receiving from the prospect and how you can properly handle that to get the outcome that it is that you want. So it is absolutely dire, if not more important than anything else, for your ability to process information in your head and have more self-awareness over your life than any prospect that it is that you will encounter or come in contact with. And that's just because of the fact that if you don't, then what will happen is you won't see the depth of the conversation that's actually occurring. Super important. So, in this little mini course that I built out here, this is the understanding of sales and persuasion, why selling is outdated, tactic driven, and people are usually broke from it. If you're not doing this before a call every day, you're fucked and you're in big trouble. And so, what I mean by that is, and carrying into the point that I was making a little bit earlier, um, and that is one of your ability to lead, influence, and persuade in a call comes down to the fact of how well you are leading yourself outside of your calls. That is the first core element that I want you to write down is my understanding of myself, my ability to lead myself, and my ability to understand and have self-awareness is what will drive my results. That is your first core. So as we continue here, I'm going to make another video here and I'm going to outline the remaining points. And if you continue, there will be a couple little hidden secrets that I will sprinkle in here as we go along. So I'm excited for you and I'll talk with you later.